Running the intro thing.
Good deal.
Woo! The guru's in the house.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
We got one of the best in the building today. One of the up and coming best today. Hey. Welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogard scot-free. And with no further delay, I'm going to introduce our special guest host for the evening, or for the morning, or for the nighttime, or the wee hours of the middle of the night, whatever you listening to this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's my man, the Guru. What's happening, Guru?
What's up, Bogard?
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Feeling good to be alive. It's kind of crazy. Like, I was cutting it kind of close. You know, when I was talking to you a little bit off air, I had went on a supply run. Because, you know, in the apocalypse, even, you know, yes, it's grocery shopping, but, you know, I call everything a supply run. You know what I'm saying? And there's a goddamn high school next to my house. That motherfucker is ablaze. It was on fire. So it was like,
my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm like, we had to drive. I had to reroute just to get home. And like, you know what I'm saying? Now, even in the studio right now, it smells like goddamn, you know, like things on fire. It's crazy. It's a crazy time we're living in, man. But how you doing? How you doing, Spencer?
Oh, man, I'm doing good, man. Luckily, my evening hadn't been that crazy. You know, it's been kind of a chill evening.
Yeah.
Thankfully, hit the gym this afternoon when had a family meal. So just kind of chilling right now, and just I'm excited to get into this pod though. So I'm ready for things to heat up. Not a buildings burned down but definitely heating up with that fantasy knowledge.
Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Guru is on fire. Playmakers. All right, well, check this out, Guru. We're going to go ahead and handle some quick housekeeping. Follow me on IG at Bogard scot-free world, at the GMM Network. Also follow me on Twitter at the GMM Network. And you could find me on rumboys.com. Also, you can find me at Rumboys Fantasy Network on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to subscribe to the GMM Network and the Rumboys Fantasy Network on YouTube. Shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX, for all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness. Go ahead and visit milkandhoneytx.com. You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out to the Rumboys official sponsor. You know what I'm saying? We really excited to have this sponsor. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight. Go ahead to monkeyknifefight.com. Enter promo code RUMBOYZ, RUMBOYZ, all capitals, and we'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. We got DFS action coming through left and right. Sports is coming back. We speaking it into existence. I know this is the apocalypse, but you know what? We're gonna preach this positivity, and we're gonna help it spread like a wildfire, pun intended. You know what I mean? And
right.
Also, you know what I'm saying? Check us out at rumboys.com, like I said, for all our merch, you know what I'm saying, and all our latest and greatest articles from all our sports journalists. Man, shout out to the whole gang. You know what I mean? Guru, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, man, they can find me in the Guru Nation over at Spencer the Guru. Just rebranded recently. Now at Spencer the Guru on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're on Instagram the most. That's where we've really built up Guru Nation, but we're trying to expand to some different platforms this season. But y'all make sure to go check them all out, y'all. At Spencer the Guru.
Yeah. We're going to make sure we have all the links in this description for all my lazy playmakers, you know, for them just to go ahead and click on and make sure they can find all that lovely fantasy content. You know, the same content that led me to the Guru to lock down this interview. You know what I'm saying? This feature, whatever you want to call it, this collaboration of the Playmakers and the Guru Nation. You know what's my
right.
You know what's my favorite about your shit is when you open up your lives and you're like, "What up, Guru Nation?" I'm like, that's
sir. Every episode, man, every live feed is, "Hello, what's up, Guru Nation?" Every
Yeah,
time.
there it
They
is.
keep
Look at that.
It's always high energy, man.
I love that.
Always get the people upbeat and get them excited for what's about to come for that show. Whether it's a mock draft, a live Q&A, whatever it is, Guru Nation stays hyped.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Playmakers, he's one hell of a follow. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to tap in with the guy. All right, so check this out, Guru. I want to get my audience a little more familiar with you before we go ahead and dive into these rankings. You know what I'm saying? Because we are gonna do a little bit of a comparison on some rankings. You know what I mean? I am a madman, a mad scientist, what have you. You know what I'm saying? So I know my rankings are a little crazy looking, but you know, it'll make for great conversation because I do have some of my own madman valid points. But you know what I'm saying? But I do love your rankings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there you are definitely a trusted source. I actually heard you refer to your page as one of the trusted sources when you were talking to my man Justin from Clock Management. Shout out to Justin. You know, I was watching the mock draft last night, and I didn't get to chime in live because I was doing a pod, but I definitely chimed in. You know, and watched. I actually watched it damn near in its entirety. You know, after the fact. You know, after you posted up after the fact. And
Good deal.
yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. I got. You know what I mean? I respect your craft as well as Justin. So you know, it was a no brainer. I was like, I got to check this out. You know what I mean? But yeah, you did say you're one of the more trusted sources, and I tend to agree. Because there is no fuckery, there's no buffoonery, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so for the Playmakers, you know, let them know a little bit about yourself, and you know where you came from, and you know just basically how you started this whole fantasy endeavor.
Yeah, man. I'm actually from. I know you guys are located out west, but I'm actually located down south in South Louisiana. Born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, and been living here my whole life. And just as far as the fantasy aspect, it just kind of got started for me at a young age. Because growing up, my dad's real big into sports, and so naturally I got into it as well, especially the NFL. And the fantasy was just like a way to really make watching the games even better. Like this, you know, made them more entertaining. Get to see my favorite players do well, and as far as the league, in my first league, I actually started playing fantasy. Y'all believe this? At 6 years old.
Wow.
First league.
Hey, you know what? I believe it. I mean, like, you can't just dub yourself the guru. Like, matter of fact, so you know you're Spencer the Guru. Side note, my co-host for this show, that's one of his nicknames is the Guru, and he's been playing since he was like 15. So you definitely have the years on him. You know what I mean? That's for sure. But you know he has about 20 years of experience. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I'll give you that, because you know there's a lot of gurus out there. But like, bro, 6 years old? Oh, you're no wonder you're the
Yeah,
guru.
man. I'm 22 now, so I've been doing this shoot for like 16 years. Been playing fantasy, probably like seriously, at least 8. You know, I mean, by the time I was, you know, like I'm 14, 15. By then, that's when I started my guru page on IG. Was around then. This is going to be year number 7 on Instagram for Guru Nation. We started from the ground up. Didn't buy any followers. Didn't try to cheat. Just started with a organic.
Plus, that'll fuck up the algorithm. It fucks up your algorithm. If you know, if for all you out there listening, you know, do it organically. You know what I mean? Don't you know? Don't fake the funk. Don't, you know, that fake it till you make it. That shit don't apply when it comes to this shit. You know what I mean?
Not at all, man. Not at all. Because there's so many people in this industry, so many good analysts that all the fake ones, they get exposed sooner rather than later. Yeah. So word spreads quick. You know, the real ones always prevail in our industry, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, like a counselor. Excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, speaking of people who buy followers, you know what I mean? Because and you know, this is not even for me. You know, he was exposed by other people that, you know, that's kind of how he boosted up or bolstered up his following. But you know what? We're not here to bash any other analysts. We're actually here to up analysts. So in this case, we're bigging up my man right here, the Guru. You know what I'm saying? So it's been, like you said, it's been about 8 years you've been serious in this, right? You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And I overheard last night when I was watching your live with my man Justin. You know what I'm saying? You had said you had approached YouTube. You had attacked YouTube prior to, you know, really just going full force on the gram. Like you were actually doing your YouTube thing prior to this as well?
YouTube, I got going with a couple years ago. I'm planning on getting back into it this season. Last season, I just had a bunch of stuff pile up. It was my senior year at college, and I was working 2 jobs, so just a whole lot of stuff piled up.
Yeah.
But actually, this quarantine stuff actually is a blessing in disguise as far as my page and my brand. I was able to really build it up like this off season because I'm no longer working those 2 jobs, both of them cut me due to COVID. So in a way, I'm like, all right, good riddance with y'all. I'm gonna build my brand up, So I've just been doing that this summer, and that's just been the theme, just protecting the brand, building the brand, and it's been a lot of fun, man. I'm really having a great time. I actually feel a lot better doing it like this because I feel like I'm really building something great rather than just working for a company.
No, I hear you, man, because I mean, you ever heard of the terminology brainchild? Like, so the Guru Nation is your brainchild. It's an idea that came straight from your brain, and like a child, you're raising this idea. You know what I mean? So, it's fun that, especially from someone like me, from the outside looking in, who I've actually been following you since I want to say September, because that's when I made my music. That's when I made the GMM Networks page. Because that's like, we launched like in August, and then we just been going hard ever since. You know what I mean? And like, and then once January came around, I figured I had a season under my belt, and I just started spreading my wings and collaborating with fine gentlemen like yourself. You know what I mean? But
yes, indeed.
I definitely agree with you on when it comes to this COVID shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're in confinement, and when the world hands you lemons, fuck it, we making lemonade. You know what I mean? And
you're damn right.
And
you're damn right. We ain't stopping just because of this crap.
Oh yeah, and my lemonade, it may or may not have a little bit of vodka in it. You know what I'm saying? maybe a little bit of hurricane. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Yeah. Okay, so check this out. I got your list and my list right here. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a deep dive into these running backs, man. You know what
Let's do it.
Okay, well, you want to let's go 6 for 6. So go ahead and sound off your top 6 at running back right now as it stands.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, as it stands right now, I go with Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry.
Okay, so we in our top 6 we're already differing because I go CMC, Saquon, right? Then I pull Cook. Even with the news that he's gonna hold out, I'm still gonna edge my bets. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I really believe that they'll take care of him. Minnesota's pretty good at that. Like historically, that organization. But I had to put him above Zeke. Okay, let me finish my top 6. CMC, Saquon, Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott. Then I got my man, the chubby one, Nick Chubb. Then I got Alvin and the Chipmunks right there, topping off that 6th. So, okay, now I want to explain a little bit. So I got Chubb up there because of the fact that Kevin Stefanski's coming over from Minnesota. You know what I mean? And if you want to look at Chubb numbers last year versus Dalvin Cook's, granted, Dalvin Cook played 14 games, and he had somewhere around 1,200 yards on the ground. Am I getting that right? 12. Let's see. Dalvin Cook rushing yards in the regular 2019 season.
Yeah, something around that, I believe. Yeah, 1135.
Yeah, he had 1135. Yeah, and then he had another.
Would have had more if he'd have played those last
for sure.
games.
And then he had 500 and some change through the air, right? Mm-hmm. Then Chubb 1494, if I remember correctly. You know what it helped if I would have brought that paper downstairs with me that I wrote these down, right? But anyways,
yeah, I always keep Pro Football Reference handy.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? So Nick Chubb 1494.
1494. Yep. ATD. That's solid. But the catches dropped some when Hunt got inserted.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he was averaging about 4 targets a game before Hunt came around, and it dropped down to 2. So with the 6 games would have been an extra, what's that, 4 times 6? It would have been an extra 24 targets. So maybe he would have got around 40. Let's go like 40 receptions. Maybe he would have had 40 receptions versus the 35 that he had or 36 that he had. Dalvin Cook had what, 52? So I'm just saying, there's a striking similarity in numbers. And like, I know a lot of people, like, and mind you, this list I have is how I'm projecting them to finish. You know what I mean? Not necessarily where I'm going to be drafting them. Because I love the fact that people are scared of Hunt for Chubb. So I'm grabbing Chubb at the back of the first, or like, even sometimes in that 1-2 turnaround. But then he's not going to be there by the time we get towards the year, I think. I think he will creep up into that 7th, 8th, that 1-8, 1-7, 1-8. Like, you know what I mean? But I do say, I feel like he'll finish top 5. And that's why I have him at that 5th. I have him over your boy Kamara. I know you're a Saints guy. I have him over Kamara just because of the fact that, like, there's still, I mean, he is Alvin and the Chipmunks, right? So there's still a chipmunk there. He still got another band member, and that is Latavius Murray. You know what I'm saying? Granted, Alvin Kamara gets more red zone looks, but I really do feel that with Emmanuel Sanders there, he is going to take some of that shorter A-dot away as far as targets go. Because, I am talking PPR. We only strictly talk PPR here, right? But, so let me ask you, you think I'm crazy pulling up Chubb this high? Because I could look at Alexander Madison and Dalvin Cook last season. And Madison, and I can relate that to Chubb and Hunt now with Stefanski, right? And Alexander Madison, he averaged about 8 to 10 touches a game. And it never negatively affected Dalvin Cook. So, you know what I mean? Give me some Nick Chubb. Especially if I'm going to get him in the back of the first or early second. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah, I definitely think, though, Hunt will play a lot more of a role for the Browns and Madison played for the Vikings, just because Madison was a rookie and didn't have the receiving chops like Hunt. I mean, Hunt has shown he can play the third down role really well, and they already came out and said they want to get him more involved this year. And I like Chubb. I mean, he's my 8th ranked running back. I'm not hating on him by any means. I just couldn't take him top 5, and I don't think he'll finish top 5 just because even with the Stefanski offense, I feel like Hunt's just going to be he's going to cap his upside, I feel like, enough to where I wouldn't feel comfortable drafting him above guys like Kamara or even Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs.
Okay. See, this is why I brought you on. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because now you make me reconsider some of my madness. This actually makes me better. You know what I mean? This makes me better. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what else is hard for me personally, Guru? Is like when I'm really big on a player, like, coming out of college and I was correct. I was like, I knew he was gonna be a beast. And then like when you do things like bring in Jack Conklin, you know what I'm saying? When you do things like draft, Jedrick Wills. You know what I mean? Where it's like, these are athletic linemen to fit that zone run scheme that they're going to push. You know what I mean? They're going to push a heavy zone run scheme over there in Cleveland now. And like, that's probably why I even drop Henry out of that top 6, because with the absence of Conklin, I'm fearful for him. You know what I mean? Especially being a guy who doesn't necessarily catch the ball. I mean, he's great at like screens and little dump offs, and you get him in open space. Derrick Henry could take it to the house. We've seen this, but like as far as route running, you know what I mean? He doesn't run routes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, he's not a receiver. I feel like with Hunt there, like Henry and Chubb as receivers probably won't be all that different this year, and I feel better about Henry as a runner just because he's so he's a bulldozer out there. Chubb's really good too. I feel like with Henry though at Tennessee, they're gonna just run it down people's throats, and there's no one else there. It's just Henry and a rookie. Like it's kind of like Cook and Madison. Like there's really no veteran threat to take targets. So I mean touches away from Derrick Henry.
Touche. Okay, so let's go ahead. Hit me off with your next 6.
All right, then the 6 after Henry. Yeah, got that name on top 6. All right. That 7th, the guy I really like, Josh Jacobs. I'm all in on Jacobs this year. I feel like a lot of people in the industry are sleeping on him. And then after him, I have Nick Chubb at 8, Aaron Jones at 9, Austin Eckler at 10, Leonard Fournette at 11, and Kenyon Drake at 12.
Okay, so we definitely differ all the way, except for I do got Jacobs here with you at 7. And then I go my man Sir Joe Mix-a-Lot. You know You know what I mean? Because I mean, like, bro, like with what's his name, man? What's their head coach's name? Is Taylor? Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor.
Yeah, Zach Taylor. I could remember when he was the OC for Sean McVay with Todd Gurley and the type of usage. I mean, we finally started to see that usage, you know, towards the end of the year when it was too late. You know what I mean? And I feel like,
right.
And they got some pieces coming back on that line. They got a rookie. They drafted last year coming back. They got Cordy Glenn coming back. That line's going to be a little healthier. And even just a little more healthier, I think would help Mixon. Just because of the fact that Mixon was able to do all that behind this type of line, you know, last season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, Mixon left a bad taste in my mouth because he was my guy last season. I was all in on Mixon. I took him in the first round in some industry experts drafts, and man, that came back to bite me. So this year, I'm pretty down on him. He's my RB13. But the more I think about it, I think he might exceed that just because, like, the situations around him is better, but I don't think it's quite better enough for him to be worth a first-round pick this year.
Well, mind you, like I said, the way I have these guys ordered are how I have them projected to finish. You know what I mean? And then, you know what I'm saying? Because, honestly, if I'm drafting Chubb or Mixon in this sense, you know what I mean? They're not – like, how about this? Even in the first round – if, like, Michael Thomas is there at 7th overall, because people are going running back crazy. I mean, look at your draft last night. 16 running backs came off the board before.
Oh, yeah, that was wild, man.
Yeah, it really was. And you were able to kill it with Julio and Godwin in the 3rd. Yeah. And it's like, if I can go ahead and get someone like, you know, Thomas in the back of the second, or in the back of the first, I would definitely grab him before I grabbed any of the, you know, any Nick Chubb or Mixon, you know what I mean? Or Derrick Henry for that matter, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so
yeah, I agree.
So I got Jacobs, Mixon, my man Austin Powers, then I got Derrick Henry, then I got my man Leonard Fournette, and then I got Miles Sanders. Mind you, this is how I feel they're gonna finish. Cause you know what I'm saying? Like, look at Sanders is going in the 2nd round because of his hype. Leonard Fournette's going in the 3rd round because of his, you know, the opposite of hype. But
right.
if these guys can stay healthy, I feel like Leonard Fournette is going to finish in the top 12. You know what I mean? I feel like Sanders.
Yeah, I agree. I'm feeling good about Fournette. I don't know why everyone's panicking about him. I mean, he could end up being a steal in a lot of drafts.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Even back of the 3rd, I've seen the disrespect go all the way to like early 4th.
Oh my god!
It's that
is outrageous in my book. Yeah, if people are seriously starting to draft guys like Melvin Gordon and Todd Gurley over him, that's gonna be like, come on, y'all, what are y'all doing?
And that's just madness. And you know, I know it takes one to know one. I am a madman. You know what I mean? Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead and move on to your next 6. What you got here?
All right, yeah. And speaking of guys, like as far as where they'll finish, I have this guy 14th, but I definitely think he could crack the top 12, and that's I think he'll finish top 12. That's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm all in on Clyde this year.
Oh yeah, so you mean the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Oh yeah, man, I'm all in, baby. I think he's gonna be more than just a prince. I think he could get the king status as a rookie, getting that 1,000-yard club, catch 50+ balls, and be an RB1. Man, I love him this year. So
you know, it's hard to argue that. To be honest with you, right? It's so
perfect offense too. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs. You couldn't ask for a better situation.
Matter of fact, I actually argued to put him. So actually, did I cut you off? Did you finish off that 6 right there?
Yeah, my 6. Yeah, 13th Mixon, 14th Clyde, 15th Miles Sanders, 16th Chris Carson, 17th Melvin Gordon, 18th Todd Gurley.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and sound mine off. So this is where I got Drake, right? Then I go ahead with Chris Carson. Then I got Clyde. But I argued to put Clyde over Drake. I just worry about Clyde having to share initially with Damian Williams. And like, you know what I'm saying? Or even, I mean, they even brought in DeAndre Washington from the Raiders. And we seen last year, uncharacteristically of Andy Reid, he was pushing a committee. You know what I mean? And that was crazy because it actually worked for them. So I feel like they might go back to that. And then you know, a lot of people, they try to compare Clyde to Hunt, like situation-wise, not player-wise, not skill-wise, but situationally, where there, you know, people have told me, well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a first-round pick. Goddamn, Kareem Hunt was a 3rd round, and he got the start. But it was like, when Kareem Hunt got the start, you got to remember, Spencer Ware tore his MCL in week 3 of the preseason. So he was thrusted into that role. As long as Damian Williams is healthy, he's going to get a crack at it first. But it's almost a safe bet to bank on Damian Williams going down at one point or not. You know what I mean?
Right, and I'm also banking on Andy Reid betting on talent and going with the more talented guy than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I feel like Reid's the kind of coach, he's a smart coach. He goes with the personnel he's got. If he's got a committee-type personnel, 2 or 3 mediocre backs are on a committee. But if he's got an elite talent, like he had in Philly, Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy, and with the
I
Chiefs,
love that
Jamal
comparison.
Charles, Kareem Hunt, he's going to run his workhorse. That's an elite talent.
Yeah. Okay, so I finished up. So I got Drake, Chris Carson, because I feel like anybody and he's the most healthiest, and anybody coming in there, you know what I mean? Because I'm still a Chris Carson truther in this sense, right?
Yeah, I feel like Carson's a nice RB2. He's my RB16. He's another one I don't think people should panic about.
Yeah, and then I got Clyde. Then I got Melvin Gordon, because I actually love Pat Shurmur's system when it comes to his running backs. You know what I'm saying? Plus they love to. I mean, I'm not going to compare Melvin Gordon to Saquon Barkley. But, I mean, we've seen what Pat Shurmur does when he has a workhorse type, at least. Because Melvin Gordon is a workhorse type. You know what I mean?
Right. I think Gordon will be just fine. A lot of people are off his bandwagon, but I think he'll be just fine in Denver.
And then this is where I get a little crazy. I got DJ right here, David Johnson. And I got him up here. I got him up here because I believe he's better than Lamar Miller. He's better than Carlos Hyde. And Carlos Hyde last year in the same offense, he had 1,000 yards. So it's like, you know what I mean? And they're definitely going to throw the ball to DJ. No one in their right mind would use Carlos Hyde in that fashion, because he's like one of the lowest rated pass catching running backs. Like, I think his average yards after the catch is like negative something. You know what I mean? Like, for real. And then I close this setup with my man Monty Burns. Because I feel a lot of people, and I love the fact that Monty Burns is like a 5th and 6th rounder. Because I feel like he'll finish in the top 24. You know what I'm saying? And that's Monty Burns. If you don't know, my bad, that's my nickname for him. But David Montgomery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, and like, because even in the year last year, there was too much hype. There was too many analysts, too many respected analysts that were driving the ADP up. And then we were basically drafting him at what would have been his ceiling. But he didn't even reach that. You know what I mean? But having, damn near 1,100 total yards, that's nothing to sneeze at. Especially having a coach that was kind of fucking around most of the time, not really giving him a full workload. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like he's, especially when you bring in John DeFilippo. You bring in someone like John DeFilippo, you know what I'm saying, who loves to emphasize the run. Look what he did with Leonard Fournette last year. And when John
I think that's a good deal. Montgomery's is someone I like in the mid rounds. I actually made a post on him last week or the week before.
I think I might have seen that.
Really good value, because he's somebody that's going to fall through the cracks. He's a perfect example of a post-hype guy. I mean, he got so much hype last year. His hype train's cooled off. So, I could see myself owning some Monty shares this year for sure. And I'd love him as a flex, but, hey, I could live with him as my RB2, especially if I did like I did last night and grabbed a pair of receivers early on.
Oh, I did fuck up, though. I forgot to say, Sanders was supposed to be a top of this one, because remember you had noticed, you're like, what'd you do with Aaron Jones?
I was wondering.
Yeah, Aaron Jones was supposed to be slotted. He was supposed to be slotted behind one Leonard
Fournette, I believe.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the amount of touches that Aaron Jones had in a Matt LaFleur system, which is essentially like a Kyle Shanahan system, but like they brought in a guy to be essentially their bruiser. Like they brought in AJ Dillon, who actually comps to Derrick Henry. And we've seen what Matt LaFleur did with Derrick Henry when he was there in Tennessee. So like, I'm kind of scared for it, but I do love it that like everything I just said, I love that because it pushes Aaron Jones down to that 3rd round. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, he's actually a pretty good value in a lot of drafts. Although his value hasn't dropped too much in a lot of them, I do. He's still like an early 2nd rounder, which I can see because I think Dillon this will be kind of a redshirt year for Dillon. Because Jones is in a contract year, and I have a feeling they're going to let Jones walk and then let Dillon take the reins next season.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and hit me off with your next. Are we this is going to bring us up to
19
24.
to 24 would be next. Yeah. All right. I'll go. Devin Singletary will start off at 19, and we've got DJ at 20, DeAndre Swift at 21, one of my favorites, David Montgomery at 22, Mark Ingram at 23, and James Conner at 24.
I love that you threw James Conner in there. You know what I mean? I love it. Like,
you had to give him some respect. He's not one of my favorites, but I think he could still be an RB2 this year since he's gonna be their workhorse as long as when he's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll stay healthy, but when he is healthy, he'll get a lot of work.
I just the one thing I do worry about is obviously the health, but and I do also love that Coach T came out and was like, when he's healthy, he's our featured guy. You know what I mean? So they have the confidence in him. You know what I mean? He also has a hell of a backstory. Love it. Hometown kid. You know what I'm saying? He's a fighter all his life. You know what I mean? He beat a terminal illness. I love the story. The one thing that worries me more than any the injuries or anything is losing some of those key pieces on their line, whether it was to retirement or free agency, because they historically have a top 5 line in every metric, and like this last season we see it step back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then now with losing some of those guys, going into this season, it just raises some concerns. I still have them in my top 30, but okay, hold on. Let me pull my list back up. Okay, where are we at? Okay, where I'm at. This is where I enter some of the guys that I was arguing with myself the most to squeeze in. That's why I sent you a couple guys extra so I could preference this. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I enter Todd Gurley because obviously he has the arthritic knees and whatnot, but I mean, and being in a dirt cutter system that's historically pass first, but that line is way better than it is, than Todd Gurley had in this past season in LA. And also, you couple that with the fact that he's probably going to see 6-man boxes religiously, just like how a Clyde Edwards-Helaire will. You know what I mean? Look at who he's going to have up top. Julio Jones, and then Calvin Ridley, who I'm calling Coolio. So you got Julio and Coolio, right? And then
that's a lethal duo there.
Yeah, and then you got my man Hayden Hurst Helmsley. You know what I'm saying? Who's actually
he could break out.
Yeah, I mean that system, the dirt cutter system, shines when it comes to the TEs. And we'll get to that when we cover TEs. But I mean, it's an offense that's going to be able to move the ball, and so he's going to get a lot of goal line opportunities. You know what I mean? So that's why I have him creeping up so high. But he's definitely someone I'm probably not going to have any shares of. You know what I mean?
Same, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he had arthritic knees. I'm staying away unless he slipped to round 4. But the problem is with people wanting to take running backs, he's normally a 3rd rounder. So at that current 3rd round price, I'm fading. I mean, he'll do. He's kind of like Connor. He's like he's similar to Connor. And I think he'll be fine when healthy, but I don't trust his health. I have a feeling he's going to be banged up over half the year, and if I don't like investing a high pick on a player that I feel is that injury prone, so I'm gonna stay away.
And then, so here's where my second rookie comes into play, and it's actually I argue with myself with Swift too, because Swift, I'm not worried about Kerryon Johnson, pun intended. I think Kerryon.
Yeah, I'm not either.
He's gonna have to carry on. You know what I mean? And
yes, I agree, man. He's gonna have to hit the bricks.
Yeah,
Swift's the guy there.
Yeah, but I still am putting Keyshawn Vaughn ahead of him because I think Keyshawn Vaughn.
That's a hot take.
I think he'll be a day 1 starter. I think he'll be a week 1 starter.
Okay.
And because I'm not a Rojo believer. I know there's rumors that they might be looking at Devontae Freeman, but I mean,
right. I was hearing that the other day.
I think that's a depth move. And what's crazy is Justin. He's fully aware of how big I am on Keyshawn, and it's the same scenario. You're gonna have Mike Evans there. You're gonna have OJ Howard and Gronk, and then you're gonna have Chris Godwin. And mind you, he has God and win in his name. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? I mean, and then you got Tom Brady passing the ball, who also loves to check down to the running back. And Keyshawn Vaughn actually has hands, and he's a bit of a bruiser. And it's an offense that's gonna be able to sustain drives. It's gonna be able to own time of possession. I mean, on the other side of the ball, they had the number one run defense. They had a trash secondary, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, famous Jameis, or as I like to call him, infamous Winston, he's president of the Pick Six Club. So he put them in a lot of bad situations. Even besides just throwing pick sixes, just throwing picks in general. Putting the opposing offense down in the red zone, like on numerous occasions where, you know what I mean. It kind of could, the numbers could be skewed. Now you're gonna be able to sustain drives, play with a lead, and all that entails having a great defense that could play their style of game, especially with Todd Bowles, who loves to send pressure. I mean, they had the leading sack, they had the sack total leader last season with Shaq Barrett. I mean, I don't think that's gonna go away, especially if you have someone like Brady at the helm. You know what I mean? And then what goes hand in hand with a good defense, a solid run game. And so I think Keyshawn Vaughn, especially being a mid-rounder right now, and watch when camp starts and they start to see him with the team ones, you know what I mean? It's going to push him up, but I love me some Keyshawn Vaughn.
And to kind of counter that point about him being with the ones, that's the reason I don't have him nearly as high. I mean, I'm not totally writing him off. I think he could play a big role this year and could do well, a good mid-round value, but right now he's my RB34 because I'm not sure if he'll be able to jump in with the ones right away. I'm pretty confident that guys like Clyde and DeAndre Swift will, but Vaughn, from looking at his college profile, makes me a little nervous. I don't know if I can trust him as to be that guy, especially if they, bring in another body like Devontae Freeman type thing. But I can see why he'd be intrigued. The offense would be great. Like if he would end up becoming that guy, then yeah, he'll eat well. So I can see why you're high on him. But at this time, I mean, we're still early in the offseason, early June. So at this point in time, I can't get quite on board with Vaughn.
Well, I will say, I am from Northern California, the Bay Area, where the grass is greener. So I am definitely high. You know what I'm saying? But and I will say, Swift is another one of those guys. Like I said, I argued between putting Swift. It was a no-brainer. Swift was going to be in my top 24. He actually rounds out my top 24. I was arguing between Singletary, Swift, and Keyshawn. And I already made my case for Keyshawn. I will add that Keyshawn, he did play a 3-down role in college, and he could pass protect. Ronald Jones can't pass protect, and we know we've seen Tom Brady. He will yell at a motherfucker. If you ain't shredding that blitz, he's on your helmet. You know what I mean? He's on your head top. You know what I mean? And then with Swift, I mean, it's the same scenario like we said with Clyde, where Damian Williams is bound to get hurt. Kerryon Johnson, he's down to get hurt. And here's the thing, or bound to get hurt, I should say. And here's the thing, Derek Bevel, I could remember him in Seattle with Marshawn Lynch. I could remember him, with Adrian Peterson. Like, he loves a workhorse type that could do it all, and that's what Swift is.
Right, yeah, I love Swift, man. Yeah, I'm RB21. A lot of people in the industry say I'm too high on him, but I don't think I am. I really don't. I'd feel comfortable with Swift as an RB2. I really would. I'm not concerned about Kerryon, and I'm a believer that they're gonna go with him as the workhorse. Yeah, we're definitely in agreement on Swift. I think we see basically 100% eye to eye on that one.
Yeah, and then Singletary, he eked out of my top 24 because obviously they brought in Zach Moss. Not too afraid of him, but just the fact that they drafted another running back. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's for depth purposes, but also my man Josh Allen the Stallion, the white Cam Newton himself. He loves to call his own numbers. So, I mean, I feel like the touchdowns are already going to be snaked in the red zone by their quarterback. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's that.
Right, that is somewhat of a concern. I just feel like with the Bills, it's a good situation to be in. It's a run-heavy offense, and yeah, I'm not too concerned about Moss either. So I'm pretty confident with Singletary as an RB2. Obviously, with them drafting, Moss killed the hype he was getting, but it may have actually been a good thing, because he was getting too much hype in those pre-draft mock drafts. Those mock drafts we were doing for us fantasy nuts, like back in April. So I noticed Singletary was creeping into the early third round. Like, I think we might be going a little overboard on Singletary. Yeah. And then they draft Zach Moss, and then boom, his ADP plummet. So I think now his current ADP is actually a good value.
Yeah, well, you know what? I tend to agree with you on that one. Okay, so what we'll do here next, we're gonna move on to receivers, and we'll just kind of diagnose your top 12s, and then and I'll tell you where mine kind of differs. And then we'll just do this for we'll also do this for QBs and the tight ends, because I really wanted this is a year where it's eminent that running back heavy early is what you're gonna want to do, because there's so much value at receiver. You know what I mean? I mean, look at, granted, you were able to get CMC last night, right? First overall.
Right.
And then be able to snag Julio, because everyone was, like I said, it's eminent. People are going running back heavy early. That Julio actually fell to you, and then you were able to spin around and get Chris Godwin, who, by the way,
man, I couldn't believe that, man. That was a lethal trio.
I know, right? Because come on now, it's CMC and Julio, and then for God's sakes, he has God and win in his name. You know what I mean? That's a super steal in the third round. You know
right, now it's Tom Brady throwing him the ball after he's coming off a breakout season. Yeah, I mean, that's an absolute steal in round 3.
And just historically, Chris Godwin, or the slot role in general in the Bruce Arians system. I mean, we can go back to
Larry Fitzgerald. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much they target the slot, and Godwin's going to get those looks, man. He's locked and loaded as a WR1, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so, speaking of Godwin, let's get to it. Let's get to your top 12, because he definitely crept into what I think was the top 6, if I remember, which I actually appreciate.
Yeah, my top 6. Yeah, you want me to rattle them off?
Yeah, please do.
All right, man. Yeah, so number 1, of course, my man Mike Thomas, the undisputed number 1 receiver in the game. It's PPR. I mean, he's the receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Hog, target monster, whatever you want to call him. He's going to eat well worth a first-round pick. Then number 2, the other receiver I feel really confident about taking in the first round, Devontae Adams. Yeah. I feel like he'll bounce back in a big way this year. And then number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 4, Tyreek Hill. And then to cap it off, Julio and Godwin, 5 and 6.
So here's the only difference in what I got here is I actually have my man Nuke Skywalker at 2nd overall. I know it's crazy, but I mean, Kyler Murray had 540 pass attempts. You know what I'm saying? Last season in his rookie outing. I think he has a floor of 600 pass attempts this season. And people are worried. They're like, well, I've never, it's a new team. I've never seen DeAndre Hopkins, play with Murray. But I mean, before Deshaun Watson, I mean, we've seen Nuke Skywalker, as I like to call him. We've seen Nuke Skywalker's numbers be exactly the same, even when he was with Watson. I mean, and who was throwing him the ball? Tom Savage, Brian Hoyer, TJ Yates.
Total garbage.
Exactly. So, I mean, with Murray there, I'm not afraid. Granted, I'm still gonna draft Adams over him, because that's proven. But I have him finishing as a top 3, but in this case a top 2. And then Tyreek Hill, I actually have him at 7. You know what I mean? And I have.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: it's like, it's so tough to not have, because he has such blow up games where his numbers can be skewed. You know what I mean? Like, I worry about him on a per game basis, but I'm not even gonna argue that he's gonna finish top 5. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna argue. I just worry about on a per game basis. You know what I mean?
But, yeah, I feel that. I feel like, though, he seemed like last year his consistency rate was a little bit better. It seemed like even in his off week, he'd still catch like 2 or 3 balls for 50 yards type thing, which, while it isn't great, it's not going to kill you. It's not like 1 catch for 10 yards type thing.
Being a second rounder, you're not mad at that, especially having a piece of that offense. You know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah. And he's the biggest piece to own from that offense. So,
Agreed. Okay, go ahead and rattle off that second half.
All right, yeah, the rest of the 12, I could go with my man Kenny Galladay at 7, Mike Evans at 8,
That's who I
DJ
have at
Moore
5. I actually had Kenny Galladay at 5 in place of where you had Tyreek Hill. But yeah,
all right, good deal. Continue. Yeah, all in on Kenny G, baby. Yeah, and then at 10, Allen Robinson, 11, Cooper Kupp, and 12, Amari Cooper.
I love that you got my man Cooper Kupp there, because
I don't know why people are sleeping on Kupp.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not going to wake him up too much neither. You know what I mean? Keep on sleeping on him so I can go ahead and acquire him. Like, I've been ending up I've been ending up, going like running back, Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp, and I'm so happy because Kupp has been in that fourth round. He's gonna creep up, especially like out here in the West Coast where like there's Rams fans. You know what I'm saying? Or even just NFC West fans in general. Like some of my Niner buddies are gonna they're gonna end up pulling him up high just because we're accustomed to seeing him go off. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. You see people's
yeah, he burns my Saints, man. That man is he's so talented, so explosive. I mean, he's too good to ignore. And a lot of people that are like, oh, they ran the 12 personnel last year. Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, which I love Tyler Higbee, but I feel like the one they're hyping up too much is Robert Woods. I feel like Kupp's still the guy to own there.
And because Kupp is going to be in the slot more than Robert Woods be, and here's the thing too is like the reason they went to a lot of 12 personnel was because of Brandon Cooks was hurt, and that line was so bad that they needed to help out there. They essentially needed extra linemen, and that's what you do when you're running 12 personnel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and when they started doing that, they were actually able to establish a bit of a run. Because before that, when they were trying to run their 3 wide receiver sets, we seen they couldn't do their own. That's why we didn't see too many screen passes from them. In the Sean McVay era, the first couple of seasons, they were killing it with that screen pass. You know what I mean? Killing it. Yeah.
Right, back when Gurley was actually healthy.
Okay, so where did you have DJ Moore? Because that's one thing.
DJ Moore, I had him number 9. I like DJ a lot this year. He's another one I feel like getting slept on.
DJ Moore actually crept up into my top 12. I had him at 18 at one point, and I kept moving him down because when I really started looking at the numbers, man, and it's one of those things. Like shout out to my man, Smokey J, for, the fantasy fornicator. He pointed out to me, he was like, out of 16 something like that, 16 or 18, passes over 20 yards. Only like 3 of them were catchable. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like, his production could have been way higher than it was, and he only had 4 touchdowns. I'm looking at some positive regression as far as his touchdowns go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same, man. I do, and I feel like the quarterback change will help him. Teddy Bridgewater, he's not like he's a stud or anything. He's a lot better than what they had last year. I mean, Kyle Allen's basically just like a backup. He's backup material. No offense to him, but I mean, he is. So then Bridgewater's like a borderline starter. So I feel like a borderline starter is an upgrade over a backup. And I definitely feel like he's going to target DJ Moore heavily because, he's by far the best weapon they have other than CMC. As far as the receivers, I'm not worried about Curtis Samuel or Robbie Anderson. Samuel's too one-dimensional as far as being a gadget guy, and Anderson's too one-dimensional as far as being a deep guy. So they'll kind of cancel each other out. But I think Moore will be just fine, and I believe he'll be a top 12 wide receiver and well worth a 3rd, 4th round pick. A steal in the 4th, I feel like, but I'd
when
go
did he
as high
go
as
in
the
your
3rd.
draft last night? He went like down in the 5th or something like that even.
Something nuts, man. I wasn't worried about grabbing him because I already had Julio and Godwin, but I was thinking, like, man, this is just what the people.
He was like, let me just get all the NFC South receivers on. He was like, listen, I already got them all.
Yeah, I could have taken Mike Thomas, and I had Mike Thomas, Julio Godwin, DJ Moore. Yeah, what can it hurt? 4 receivers. One from every NFC South team. No, 0 RB.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, man.
So let's go ahead and move on to the tight ends.
All right.
Because tight ends, there is some obvious things. Obviously, we have Kelsey and Kittle, and then it actually immediately got interesting to me. So go ahead and shoot off your top 6.
Yeah, it does get interesting. I was actually talking with my man Justin from Clock Management about the Ertz versus Andrews debate, which has become a hot topic in the community. I'd have to go with Ertz, though, if we're playing PPR. Because I feel like he's just got that safe, secure target share there in Philly. They're going to, like we talk about 12 personnel, they're going to run a ton of that 12 personnel. And Ertz is going to be on the field all the time getting peppered with targets because they don't have any receivers that are target hogs. Jeffrey's always hurt. And the rest of the guys are rookies. Oh, yeah, Deshaun Jackson, but he's in the same boat as Jeffrey, old, always hurt. So it's an inexperienced old and inexperienced wide receiver core, one of the kind of suspects. I mean, we know Carson Wentz is going to lean on his man Zach Ertz, so I have him at 3. Then Andrews 4. I mean, can't deny Andrews' production from last year, and he's become a favorite of Lamar Jackson, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, and especially in that Greg Roman system where it's predicated on targeting the tight end. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. And then I got a bombshell for you at 5 here. A lot of people call me nuts for this one, but I'm truly a believer in Tyler Higbee.
Oh, Tyler Higbee, that's right. That's 5. Right. See, okay.
I believe in that, man. I feel like that breakout from last year, while he's not going to live up to that kind of production, I definitely don't feel like that he's just going to become irrelevant again either. I feel like Higbee's definitely going to have a nice role in that offense and be a rock-solid tight end 1, and he has a lot of upside. I feel like he's due for some positive touchdown regression, so I'm confident with him in that 5th spot.
Okay, so check this out. I feel like I want to argue this, but smart coaches know when something works, like switching to 12 personnel. That worked. Mm-hmm. And then
McVay knows how to adapt.
Yeah,
and Higbee ate really well when they did that.
And I also wanted to argue and be like, well, Mark Andrews, I like him 3rd overall, but at the same time, and then be like, well, there is Dallas Goedert there. And he does have God in his name, but he also has dirt in his name. You know what I'm saying? So he has that going for him. But then also at the same time, I mean, you made a good point. When a lot of those other receiving options, they were either hurt or they were rookies, or they're going to be rookies with the new guys that they're bringing in, or even JJ Arthega Whiteside being a sophomore, and that's another team too. That religiously runs 12 personnel. And in the end, people, if they were too worried about Dallas Goedert, I would rival that and say, hey man, Zach Ertz still got more red zone targets, still got more 10 zone targets. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, 10 zone, that's something that people
it's more important for your tight end. It's more important for your tight end.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Because being a tight end, you could score a touchdown and you're in the top 12 for that week. You know what I mean?
Yep, yeah, those touchdowns are really key. It helped Jared Cook out a lot last year. Getting all those red zone looks from Drew Brees.
Okay, and then I know Darren Waller rounded out your top 6. I would say that I wanted to argue Waller over Higbee, but damn it, dude, it's a tough argument because they brought in Jason Witten and they already had Moreau or whatever his name was. You know what I'm talking about? Moreau.
Oh, another tight end.
Yeah, for the Raiders. Yeah, he kind of snaked a bunch of Darren Waller's touchdowns last year.
Yeah, man. I actually, I'm pretty sure I updated in my ring because I actually swapped Evan Ingram.
Oh, that's right.
At 6 over Darren Waller. I had Waller at 6, but I put him down to 7 just because. Hey, I don't know, man. Waller makes me a little nervous.
You're right. You do have Evan Ingram there, and I love that call, bro. I love that because. With Jason Garrett, with him on the sideline clapping, you know what I mean? Just clapping away. He's going to call plays for the tight end. You know what I mean? We've seen him for years.
Yes.
For years with Jason Witten. Even we've seen Blake Jarwin flash. Now he's over there in New York with the Giants. And, this is no knock to, Golden Tate. This is no knock to Darius Slayton. But I believe the best receiving option there is Evan Ingram, is my man Double E. He just needs to be healthy. And this is a system that's going to utilize him. And he's not a great blocker, so he'll be out there running routes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I like Slayton a lot too, but yeah, definitely. There's definitely going to be enough to go around for Ingram to eat well there. If all goes well, he could easily crack the top 5. It's just his health. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably have him at 5 if it wasn't for the injury concerns. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that if healthy, he'll be a good value pick. A lot of people are kind of off his hype train. He's actually a pretty good. Yeah, he's actually at a good draft value right now. I think I got him in the mock last night in round 8 or 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say you definitely got him in the late mids. Okay, so and if you remember, Playmakers, check us out, Playmakers, and for the Guru Nation that happens to be checking us out. If y'all remembered, my man Double E, my man Evan Ingram, he fucked around and finished. When not finished, he was number 1 when he got hurt. He was the number 1 tight end. It was him and Austin Hooper. This was like going in the week 5 or week 6, if my memory serves me correct. So he was eating You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's got that ceiling for sure. So I think I'd rather take him over over the safe option. Like Waller, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper. Those guys aren't bad, but there's not as much upside there. I'd rather swing for the fences with Higbee or Ingram. I feel like both of those guys have a lot of upside and are the better picks, especially at the tight end position, to where it's like you might as well go big or go home.
Yeah, that's right. You heard that, Playmakers. You go big or go home. And when you're at home, stay your ass home. Because there's motherfuckers like me and the Guru out here, like some goddamn sharks. And don't, you know what I'm saying? Stay home where it's safe. Okay, go ahead and rattle off that second six.
All right, man. Yeah, Darren Waller, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, Jared Cook, Mike Gesicki, and Noah Fant.
Okay, give me 1 second. Because I need to catch my breath. Because I love how bold you are. And mind you, this might not be as bold. This might actually be what's going on in the industry, because I am a madman, so I tend to think that I'm just like on this other level. But like, I love that you have Gesicki up there, because I have Gesicki up in the top 12 as well. I love that you have him up there. I will say this though, Jared Cook, with the addition of Manny Sanders going there, a lot of that shorter A-dot is gonna negatively affect some of Alvin Kamara's receptions. It's going to negatively affect, not receptions, targets. It's going to negatively affect, some of Jared Cook's targets. But I'm only saying this too because there's people like Hayden Hurst Helmsley that exist. Where like I have Hayden Hurst in my top 12. So like, and Jared Cook is right outside of it. Also another name that I would argue to get in the top 12 is Jonnu Smith as well. You know what I mean? But Hayden Hurst, bro, let's look at Dirk Cutter for a second. Do you remember with me, Goo? Remember when O.J. Howard was a thing, and then last year everyone got mad at him?
Right, yeah, he just fell off the face of earth thanks to Bruce Arians.
Yeah, because the Bruce Arians system, they're predicated on blocking tight ends. That's probably why they brought in Gronk, because at the end of the day, Gronk's a phenomenal blocker. You know what I mean? And then you know what happens when you're a good blocker? You could peel off into the flat when you're in those red zone packages or those 10 zone packages, and then you're just wide open to catch an easy touchdown. You know what I mean? But O.J. Howard, we had seen when there was no more Dirk Cutter, they weren't drawing up plays for him. He wasn't really involved in the game plan. Even though O.J. Howard was a great blocker, that's why people were looking at his snap count. They're like, well, he's on the field, but they're not targeting him. And when they did, he wasn't in no rhythm. So he was dropping balls, etc. Plus you had Jameis Winston, who was inaccurate. But see, I bring all this up to say that as the moment Dirk Cutter left and went to Atlanta, he went to ATL, went to the A where the players play. And he was back where it all started for him. You know what I mean? As an OC. And if you could even remember back when he was in Atlanta under Mike Smith. Right? He had Tony Gonzalez. Granted, Tony Gonzalez is a Hall of Famer. Still, though, Tony Gonzalez shined in that system because the Dirk Cutter system is predicated on targeting or giving the tight end position 15% of the target market share. So now with this said, why do you think Austin Hooper blew up last year? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think Hurst will do pretty well. He's actually just outside of my top 12.
I see that. He's at 13 even, right?
Right. Yeah, it's just, the thing is, I think he'll get some of those targets, but will he get all of them? He's kind of unproven as a receiver because he's played that blocking role with Baltimore the past couple of years. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do a lot better than he's done. I think he'll evolve more into a pass catcher, but I don't know. To me, he'd be more of a dynasty guy. For redraft, he makes me a little nervous just because he hadn't really done it yet as far as showing that he can catch balls well.
I go back to his pedigree, being a first-round draft capital. You know what I'm saying? Carrying first-round draft capital. And Ozzie Newsome knows how to find and pinpoint his tight ends. You know what I'm saying? Granted, Mark Andrews outplayed him, but there were so many big plays, like so many big house calls. Like maybe I'm blinded because he flashed so many times with his little what's the word I'm looking for? His little snap count. being in Baltimore.
Yeah, small sample size type thing.
But he flashed, bro. And maybe that could have had a lot to do with that defenses weren't looking at him. So he would just find himself running up the seam wide open and catch a 57-yard house call. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I you know what? This is why we're sounding off your list over here, because you know what I'm saying, this is meant for me selfishly. This is for the playmakers, but selfishly this is also to help me. You know what I'm saying? As an analyst.
They're trying to steal all my secrets. I see.
No, not stealing, sharing. And no, but here's the thing too, is like I wouldn't doubt, like once we see camp, some of your ideologies could change. You know what I mean? We as analysts,
sure. You always got to keep an open mind as an analyst, and it's always good to get multiple perspectives. Like I'm glad to be chopping it up with you, because you have some pretty bold takes, and I'm definitely willing to listen, because you always got to look at different things and don't just get pigeonholed into one certain mindset.
For sure, especially because people like us, you know what I'm saying, we've been rocking with these joints, since the Super Bowl ended. You know what I mean? We've already been working towards this year. And it's like, if we made up our mind back then, we're far gone. You know what I mean? Like we have to reserve the right to change our mind and our opinion. And I will say this much. I am a thief, but I'm not a common thief. Because you know what I steal? I steal. This is what, if I was to steal anything, what I'm stealing is good company. You know what I mean? Because I like to believe I'm a reflection of who I surround myself with. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why I bring on analysts like yourself, people that I respect in the industry. You know what I mean? Like I you know what I'm saying? And to preface this, I don't like using that word steal either, or borrow. You know what I mean? I feel like as analysts, you know what I mean? We're all opinionated, and our perspectives, they're all different, and I feel like it's a place where we can all give our perspective, and you know what I mean? If the people the people that are closed-minded, those are the ones that lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we use these different perspectives to grow and as well as evolve, as analysts. And I feel like those are the most successful ones in the game, are the ones that are able to, that are smart with it and able to adapt and change. Kind of like the ballers, man, the footballers. Shout out to them. They're one of the best pods out there, man. I mean, they're the gods. I love their show. They know what they're talking about. And they know their stuff in there, but they're open-minded. Like, they're willing to change their mind if needed type thing. And they always have solid facts. So, like, yeah.
I love the fact that they're a trio. So you always have a tiebreaker. Even you have a guy that, like, if two guys agree, you know what I mean, or two guys disagree, I should say. There's somebody that can bring them around the fold, and they can come with a consensus between the three of them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And just being accurate is something they've proven to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I love. You know what? I love the fact that I've worked with Smitty on a couple occasions. And that he actually has a direct connection to them, so that, like, our 6th degree. And I know you work with Schmitty close knit.
Oh yeah, the fantasy football show, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I love that. That's our awesome, 6th degree of separation to the ballers. You know what I mean?
Good deal. Yeah. Smitty's been huge as far as, like, he always likes to go live with me and stuff, and does the live mocks. He's a grinder, man. Big shout out to Smitty.
Yeah, big up to Smitty, man. He's also, bro, like, as much as I call myself a madman, he is bold. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, Smitty's got some fire takes, man. Some fire takes. Sometimes I'm like, man, Smitty, but
he's definitely going to drive the 80. He's definitely a driving force of driving up, like, a lot of ADPs, for sure.
Yeah, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, I mean,
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood, yeah.
I think he's just on this sophomore crop right now. Like, really tough.
Yeah, I'm with him on AJ. DK and Hollywood, I'm a little, kind of not quite going all in with those two. I'm more a Deebo Samuel guy.
I like that. I am a Niner fan. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yes, I love that
Sweet,
call.
Yeah. I love what y'all got going on with Deebo. I loved how he was running those jet sweeps at the end of last year.
Yeah, and if we could have just continued doing that in the Super Bowl.
Oh man, I hate to say it, but I'll just be real with you, man. I was pulling against y'all, man. I put 50 on the Chiefs, and I was glad when they made their comeback.
I'm glad you were able to win money, man. Okay, you know what? I've told this story several times on my podcast, but before we get to this last segment, I want to share this story with you. So ask me why the 49ers saved, or ask me how the 49ers saved the world during that time.
All right, how they saved the world.
Okay, so the first documented corona cases were March 18th in Kansas City, right? I'm from the Bay Area, California. You know what I'm saying? Where our first corona cases were like late December and all throughout January, right? So now, like I said, March 18th, first documented cases in Kansas City. This is well a month after the parade. Kansas City has a good fan base. Not a storybook franchise like the Niners are, right? But mind you, with Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl, there's kids all over the nation and all over the world that are going to grow up Chiefs fans because of him. Kind of like how Michael Jordan made a bunch of Bulls fans everywhere all over the world, Kobe Bryant, etc. for the Lakers. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Yes, but my Niners, because of Joe Montana and Steve Young, Jerry Rice, etc., we do have a storybook franchise. If we would have won this Super Bowl, people would have came from states away, from everywhere, bro. They would have came from everywhere. And that parade would have had millions and millions of people in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And bro,
Yeah, man. And speaking of that, yeah, Mardi Gras out in NOLA, that ended up being a big hotbed for COVID.
see? Exactly. So imagine that. And people would have went home, just like in Mardi Gras. When they went home from wherever, if they weren't from New Orleans or Louisiana, wherever they came from, they went home and they brought a fucked up parting gift home. And I'm saying, if the Niners would have won the Super Bowl, it could have spiked up the pandemic worse than it was initially. Like, it might have been something we couldn't grasp and get a hold of, because we're steady getting a hold of it now. You know what I mean? But like, so I say this to say, when Manny Sanders, your fellow Saint, you know, when he was with my Niners and he was wide open, and my man, Handsome Jimmy, or as I like to call him, the handsome hero, when he seen Manny Sanders wide open, he said, "It's time to save the world," and he overthrew him. And,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a joke.
and that's how I go to sleep at night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they look at it positively. Yeah,
We just
and
saved
then,
the world.
I'm as a Saints fan, man. Shoot, recently they've had our share of heartbreak. Oh my gosh, it is just one after another. Don't even get me started.
Okay, so in this last segment, I'm just gonna go ahead and rapid fire some random shit. I didn't even write these down. I just figured because I'm pretty good at freestyling. These are all gonna be they're all gonna be one-word answer questions. And they'll either be yes or no, or they'll be multiple choice. Okay, so now,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
first,
sounds good.
and they'll be New Orleans Saints relatable. You know what I mean? Okay, hold on. Let me just wanted to take a swig real quick. Okay, so now, best receiver in the game, Michael Thomas, aka Frankenstein. Because have you seen his head? It's the tallest head in the game. Right?
Right?
Can you agree?
I didn't think it happened. Yeah,
And that's why I call him
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. That's why I call him Frankenstein. Okay, so best receiver in the game. This is kind of a trick question, but this is how we'll start it off. Frankenstein, Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, Nuke Skywalker.
Gotta go with my man Frankenstein.
Yeah! I like that. Hold on, where's my Jamaican horns at? Oh yeah, there they are. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
you know what's funny is I was already preferencing in my head the next question was going to be, do you believe that Frankenstein's a great nickname? But you already agreed that he does have the tallest head in the game, right? Okay. Is that a New Orleans thing? Because Peyton Manning's from Louisiana too, right? Like, he has one of the biggest heads in the game, you know what I mean? But anyways, you know what? Scratch that. Okay. Donut or beignet?
I'd say
I've never had a beignet.
beignet. I go with beignet on that. I mean, I love them both, but I'm going beignet, man. Local flavor.
Yeah, local flavor. Okay.
As long as they're from Cafe Du Monde in NOLA, I'm going beignet.
Have you ever been to Las Vegas?
No, I have not.
Okay. Have you ever been to Disney World?
No, not there either.
Okay, because I'm trying to think of, because I was going to say Mardi Gras or Las Vegas. So I was going to say, but you know what? Mardi Gras is the best. So maybe we'll go to the next one. Okay. So now, What would you rather have? Your Saints win the Super Bowl, or, I know you're an analyst, and I know you play in money leagues. Your Saints win a Super Bowl, or you win 100% of your leagues this year?
Oh, man, you stumped me there. Holy crap, 100%?
100%.
Everyone? Oh my God. Well, I tell you what, everyone, I'm in a lot of leagues, so if I can win every single league.
Listen, but in this
I
case.
bet all my Saints people are going to hate me for this, but I'm going to have to say 100% of my league.
Yeah! You are a fantasy analyst, because you know what that would do for you? That would be something that would be another badge of honor. Like, listen, I won 100% of my leagues. Guru Nation, you tuned in to the right guy. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I win both industry experts league. I'm in two, actually, the Throne and the IG experts league. Just those two alone would make my day. But then all the other ones on top of it, I couldn't even. Words couldn't even describe how happy I'd be.
Okay, here, this gets me to my next question. This one's a Bogard ignorant one right here. With all the fuckery that happens to the Saints, is it a conspiracy against them within the league, or is someone out there in New Orleans perhaps maybe have legit voodoo cursed them?
Oh man, it's I'd say I'd probably have to. I mean, the league. I don't think the league likes the Saints per se. I don't believe that the games are rigged. So it's just. I feel like it's just shit for luck, man. I don't know if it's a
so
curse
maybe somebody
or what,
with the hoodoo curse.
Probably the voodoo, man. I don't know, man. They be doing some crazy shit out there. they better get that good the gree. They gotta get that good gree going for them this year. Because
they got Drew Brees.
With all this hype going in, and end up having to sit our ass at home come Super Bowl Sunday. So we're gonna take it this year. I'm confident.
Okay. All right. Who in PPR finishes higher? Emmanuel Sanders or Anthony Miller?
I'm gonna go with Sanders there. Miller's all right, but that offense stinks, man. I gotta go Sanders.
The reason I bring this up is because John DeFilippo is the OC now, and we remember the big breakout games for or the big showouts from Westbrook last season, or even going all the way back to when John DeFilippo was over there with the Eagles and they traded for Golden Tate and he was just eating because Nick Foles tends to love his slot receivers same way he loved his slot receiver. Because I'm putting Nick Foles as a starter over there, to be honest. That's why I even compared the two names. Or even having Emmanuel Sanders having so many other options around him. You know what I mean? That's why I felt like it was kind of a valid, comparison. Okay, how about this? Manny Sanders or Adam Thielen? Because Adam Thielen's going pretty high. But I feel like, he's been injury prone. And I don't know. I feel like he's steady becoming someone I'm avoiding.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that 100%. I'm staying far away from Thielen, but as much as I'm avoiding him, I would still have to take him any day over Sanders just because he's still that number one option there in Minnesota. I don't trust him, but as long as he's healthy, he's going to get enough looks to still be at least a low-end WR2, so definitely Thielen.
Okay, behind Michael Thomas, who leads in receptions behind Michael Thomas for the Saints this year?
I'm gonna still go with AK, Alvin Kamara.
Love it. Yeah, because he is probably the best receiver behind Michael Thomas, even with Emmanuel Sanders being there.
Yeah, I think Sanders will catch 70 for example. I still think Kamara will catch 80 to 90.
And low key, you guys' run pass ratio is fairly even. So
yeah, we're balanced.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that because they just think of Drew Brees and all those 5,000-yard outings over the years. They forget that ever since Kamara came into the picture, even when you guys had Mark Ingram there along with him, they're running this thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I miss Mark, man, but at least with Lat Murray, we still have a pretty good 1-2 punch, and the defense is a lot better. Back when Brees was throwing for all those yards, because they're always having to play catch up a lot of the time, but. Now our defense is solid. It's pretty much an even split between the run and the pass.
Okay, I know you're fairly young, so this question might be lopsided, but Cash Money Records or No Limit Records? They both originate, Master P or Lil Wayne, essentially.
True, man. That's I'll probably have to go with. I mean, I haven't really listened to Master Female. I've heard a few Lil Wayne stuff. He actually did a collab recently with Lil Baby, which that was a good song. I'll go with the Lil Wayne side.
Yeah,
and he's from Louisiana. He's a Louisiana
boy.
So.
I mean, they call him Lil Louisiana. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
Okay, so now let me ask you. This is a side note, real quick. What kind of music do you like?
I like a variety, man. I like classic rock, hard rock, rap, more newer rap, but also some classic, and then a little bit of country mixed in, some from down south. So a little bit of everything, I guess. But definitely have my preferences. I don't just listen to anything. I have a lot of favorite artists that I enjoy.
I'm trying for the life of me this whole time. Remember this comedian that comes from South Louisiana? He is super funny. I think he has Vaughn in his name. What is his name? Damn it. He has a mullet. Are you aware? Okay, you know what? Scratch that question. Because I was going to say, are you aware of him? Okay, I got a few more to rattle off before we close this thing up. Okay, this one's not really a one-word answer. What's the craziest shit you've seen at Mardi Gras? I mean, I know there's titties flying everywhere, but what's the craziest shit you've seen?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. I've definitely seen some weird shit out there. I mean, I usually go to Lafayette Mardi Gras where I'm from, and it's usually not quite as crazy. But I went to one last year, and he had a Homa parade, and and a lot of dudes like lift their shirts, like throw it to just like clown. I think it was like the women's parade too. Like a lot of the dudes were acting nuts at that one. So. So yeah, definitely. It's always a wild time at Mardi Gras, man. It's and with the drinking going, it's it's up there, man. I'm kind of glad I actually missed out on it this year. I'm glad I did because all the COVID stuff. Yeah. But assuming everything is back to normal, I'll be back out there next year.
Okay. Favorite drink at Mardi Gras now that you are of age. Favorite drink?
All right, yeah, I'd probably have to see. Yeah, I'd go with a good old Sprite and vodka.
Nice. I love it. I'm a vodka man too. Love it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Under over, out of 10 people, if there was 10 people, under over, we're putting it at 5. How many of those 10 people know what Mardi Gras actually is about?
Like over. Yeah, I'd take the over. Most people know what it's about, I mean, whenever I think of Mardi Gras, I just think, people drinking and having a good time. I'd say it's a pretty national holiday. Like, a lot of people know what it is. So I'd go
it's like to go crazy before, what is it? Before Lent. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's like a big, it's almost like, here's a term, it's like the tailgate that never ends.
I like that.
It's like an all-day tailgate, basically.
Okay, we're gonna. This is my very last one. I know you got your Saints going all the way. Who are they playing? Who's your bold prediction in the chip?
Kansas City Chiefs. We're gonna knock off Patrick Mahomes, baby. He's gonna think he's gonna get 2 in a row. Not so fast, but we getting it, man. I was just envisioning it in my head. He's going to throw a ending picked off by Marshawn Lattimore. He's going to take it back, and we're going to take home Lombardi number 2. Bring it to NOLA.
Yeah.
Bringing it home to the promised land. That'll be a party. Holy crap. I'll have to be there if that happens.
I actually got 2 more, right? This one's fast and one's something I want you to elaborate on. So, does it bother you when people say New Orleans and not New Orleans?
A little bit, yeah. I don't really get
it's kind of annoying, though, right?
Put the eens on. It's like, it's not how you say it. Like, it's just kind of, even people from here, some of them butcher it. I'm like, what are y'all doing? It's like, it's almost like they try and be fancy with it. Same thing with Lafayette. I hear some people, they say Lafayette. It's like, there's no need to do that. It just is what it is. New Orleans and Lafayette. Like, don't overthink it.
Yeah. Okay, so I do, like I said, I do tune into your content on your page. And I know you stray away from the politics of everything, but I feel like, as content creators, I mean, I feel it would be irresponsible, if we don't at least elaborate just a tad bit. So, I mean, do you think that locker room is truly forgiving Drew Brees?
Yes, I would say so. Drew has really handled it well recently. He had that dark day last week where he misspoke or misstepped and just like really alienated a lot of the guys in the locker room. But I genuinely believe his apology. I watched it, I read it, and I feel like he's genuinely sincere, especially when he basically called out Trump. I mean, and basically like he's like, I'm not changing my stance. I'm genuinely sorry. So I feel like he'll be just fine. He's done a lot for the community over the years. Been the leader of that locker room all these years, and those years of hard work and just will pay off. And then the fact that I just feel like he redeemed himself, because I mean, all those years of hard work may have gone out the window, but that fact in with the fact that he's handled the apology so well and gone above and beyond, apologized multiple times, and even had the courage to not back down despite what the president said. So I'm
I will say
confident
this,
Breeze
though.
will still be the leader.
I will say that, I mean, obviously Kaepernick's protests had nothing to do with, disrespecting the flag or the military. As a matter of fact, his silent protest, his advice actually came from a retired veteran, that suggested that that's how he should go about it. So, and I will say this, as much as Drew Brees is in this locker room with brothers, initially it boggled my mind. I was like, how in the fuck is he in this locker room with brothers and other minorities, and he doesn't realize that Kaepernick's protest had nothing to do with disrespecting the flag or the military or anything like that, right? But then when it got time to sink in, and I'm not defending his comments by any means, as a man, love him as a football player, but I don't know these guys personally, you know what I mean? So really, it's like, I don't lose any sleep in a sense, but I feel like you should be more responsible if you have a platform like some of these players do. But I will say this, I wouldn't doubt that Drew Brees is so serious about football that he wouldn't, like when he talks to players in the locker room or even off the field or in the off season, I bet you 100% of the conversation is about football. And so he would be oblivious to what's going on with these other issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I feel like he definitely wasn't trying to ruffle any feathers or create waves.
He was just ignorant.
He felt so bad because he first realized he was oblivious and that he should have been more aware of what was going on around him.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you for touching on that, man, because I know your stance on it, like that you didn't really want to, you want to keep it fantasy, keep it all business, and you know what I mean. But thank you for that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you being a Saints fan, I was just curious to see if that actually was something you were worried about, like with the, with his players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was worried, man. That night it happened, like, oh my god, this is turning into a disaster. But the way he handled it the day after, he was basically like a fourth quarter comeback type thing. He really picked up the pieces there because it looked like he just, I don't know what he was thinking during that interview, but he definitely recovered in my book, and hopefully the locker room will accept his apology and things will be all good in Who Dat Nation.
Okay, this is the last one. One word answer. Backup quarterback. Who you have? Jameis Winston right now. Who would you rather have? Winston, Bridgewater.
I would.
Now that you have Winston, this is why I'm asking.
For this season or for the future?
No, like I said, for this season, like say
just as a backup.
Just as a backup. Like if God forbid, any of our starting
this
quarterbacks.
This might sound wild. I'm kind of way glad that it's Winston. I'll go with Winston because I feel like if we end up in a tough, like if Breeze would go down and we'd end up kind of like in a shootout type game, Winston would be able to allow us to keep up. Where with Bridgewater, it's like unless the defense was playing lights out, I don't know if I trust Bridgewater to keep up in a track meet. And I feel like under Sean Payton's tutelage, Winston should get better with his decision making. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that Bridgewater left. I'm gonna go with famous James, baby.
Yeah, or as I like to call infamous Winston. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Guru, thank you. Man, I had a great time.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Wonderful insight. You know what I mean? Definitely keep me in mind next Monday. I'll definitely join. I'll join in on the mock. I'll send you a DM. You know what I mean? And,
cool deal. Yeah, I'd love to have you in it.
Yeah, man. So you can see my madness. You can see me pulling up all kind of questionable guys. early.
Oh yeah, go for it, man. That's what it's all about. Yeah, especially here early in the off season. Definitely try some different strategies out.
Oh yeah, and with our peers, man. You know what I mean? Because I know you like to do a mashup of like analysts and just some of your fans, and I think it's great, man. I love everything you're doing. You know what I mean? I like if there was a draft for fantasy analysts, you're definitely a value pick that could finish in the top 3. You know what I mean? I'll say that much. You know what I mean?
Cool deal. Yeah, so stay tuned for the Throne League, man. Where the followers help us draft our teams type thing, and I already saw some of the guys were picking me to do well on fantasy on tap. Shout out to those guys. They were like, I'm gonna have to go with the Guru Nation.
Yeah, I mean your guys' fans, your fans are incredible, man. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. I mean you're from the ground up. You didn't buy no followers. Because, people that are buying followers, those followers, they don't even really exist. They're just numbers that make it look like you have a following. And I've seen your interactions, bro. Like, it's phenomenal, man. Like, you have a very, very high ceiling and a solid floor. You know what I mean? I appreciate your existence in the industry. You're young, and there's only the arrow's only pointing up, man. Thank you again.
That's all I like to hear.
Yeah, man. Thank you again for coming on, bro. You know what I mean? I feel like this won't be the first time. I feel like I'm going to bring you on again eventually one day. You know what I mean?
Cool, man. Yeah, I'd love to come back, and I'll have to have you on my show when I get it launched, the Guru Nation podcast.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's coming back, y'all. It's coming back, so stay tuned for that. It'll be back here this summer, trying to get my audio technicals lined up. Once I get all that figured out and get my little studio shaped up, the podcast will be back and ready to roll.
Woo! Yeah, for sure, man. Well, shit, man, you take it easy. You be safe. You know what I mean? And, if the Saints don't go to the Super Bowl, and you win 100% of them leagues, man, just remember, we said it here first. Right here on the Real Fantasy Playmakers.
Yes, indeed.
That's got to have been the toughest question all evening.
That was, man. That one got me. I had my loyal Saints fans are gonna hate me for that, but sometimes you just gotta keep it real.
Hey, man, but you know what?
The truth hurts sometimes. I would have to go with all my league.
For sure, brother, man. Well, you take care.
All right, man.
Oh, yeah, real quick. One more time. Let them know where to find you. That's important.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Find me at Spencer the Guru on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's simple now, y'all. No more multiple usernames or underscores, any of that. It's just simple. At Spencer the Guru. Y'all go follow.
Yeah, at Spencer the Guru. You heard the man, Playmakers, and shout out to the Guru Nation. And it's funny when I said one more thing, where you're like, damn, he's gonna ask one more question. I was like, wait a minute, let him know where to find you. For sure, Guru. Man, you have a good one, brother.
You too, man. That was a fun time.